All right, welcome back. And here's the two that started the whole thing: the crypto conspiracy, the silver psyop, Silvertown, you name it. The one, the only, the famous John Perez. John, how are you?
I'm doing great. Long time no see. Kind of missed being on the Morgan Report. We got all the good, great breaking and controversial news and best conspiracies on YouTube.
Oh, there we go. Well, it's been a while, as you said, and you had something that you put out on your Telegram and other places, because a lot of stuff that you post on your Telegram channel get reposted on social media, Twitter and Facebook, I suppose, and other places. So you have this big meme about $30,000 Bitcoin. So let's start there, John.
Yeah, it was on YouTube. I mean Telegram, and I go to the search engine, type in $30,000 Bitcoin, and you'll get a bunch of items from me. And I had said put out a notice. Let's see, back in January 6th, January 6th, I put out a call that there'd be a margin call at MicroStrategy at $30,000 Bitcoin. And let me see if I can find this here. $30,000. Okay, there it is. There it is. $30,000. I believe it was January 6th. I try to put things on specific dates. So there it is. 12/19 margin call. Let's see. $30,000 margin. Sorry to be. I'm just going through the exercise here of finding this. Okay, 121. There it is. Margin call. So I put out a margin call warning at MicroStrategy at $30,000. And then, of course, I put it out on my YouTube. I said there would be a margin call at $30,000. And, of course, everyone thought I was nuts when I said that. And I said, just give it some time. It's pretty straightforward. Anyhow, on January 6th, I put out a meme and I stamped it. I said, January 6th, there's going to be a margin call at $30,000 at MicroStrategy. Now, going back in hindsight, at that time, the average purchase price of MicroStrategy to Bitcoin was approximately $29,000. Well, fast forward to today, and now the average purchase price for Bitcoin is $30,000, 30,600, 30,700 average price for MicroStrategy today. Let me find that exact number here. This article came out because they had just recently purchased, or I should say, MicroStrategy took out a loan of $250 million to buy more Bitcoin. Well, this is starting to sound like a housing bubble where you buy something and you leverage it, then you buy another house, and then you leverage it, and you buy another house. Well, I noticed the numbers on here that recently there was a purchase of Bitcoin at $45,000. Recently, 4,167 Bitcoin, 190 million at an average price of 45,000. And here we broke 40,000 today. Now, as of 4422, this is from Telegram, Cointelegraph. As of 4422, MicroStrategy hodls 129,000 Bitcoins acquired for 3.97 billion at an average price of $30,700 Bitcoin. And actually, this is Michael Saylor's tweet, April 5th, 2022. So he tweeted out that we have average Bitcoin is $30,700. Well, lo and behold, suddenly, all of a sudden, my $30,000 margin call, we have similar numbers now. Now, this is significant because if you type in $30,000 Bitcoin in any search engine, DuckDuckGo, Google, here's what you're going to get. And this is where it gets really interesting because I saw this and I thought I better double check this in case I make a mistake. So 5 days ago, Business Insiders on MSN said Bitcoin could drop to $30,000 by June, led by a new slump in tech stocks, says the founder of BitMEX crypto exchange. So it's not me guilty of FUD. It's so
It's BitMEX guilty of
it's
FUD.
BitMEX. This BitMEX crypto CEO, the founder of BitMEX, says $30,000 Bitcoin. Well, if that's the case, then MicroStrategy is underwater $700 on all their Bitcoin.
On
Well,
129,000.
yeah, this is a serious matter here now because I don't know what the contracts say in there, but this recent loan that was just received is leveraged, is based on the collateralization of his original Bitcoin stash. So what's going to happen with this loan when this thing gets underwater and the entire Bitcoin stash, his bags, I guess, suddenly I'm like, we're at $30,000 Bitcoin. You're upside down on your recent purchase at 45,000 and your entire Bitcoin position is underwater by $700. I don't know what the details are in the contracts, but one would assume that the shareholders at MicroStrategy could be chewing on their fingernails watching the price of Bitcoin get down to 30,000. Now here's another article. This is thestreet.com 5 days ago, which is 6 now because I found this yesterday. Crypto exchange founder sees Bitcoin falling to $30,000. That's the street. Okay, now Barron's. Now Barron's is, I love the Barron's mining index. Bitcoin prices keep slipping with cryptos under pressure. Why one trader is eyeing a tumble to $30,000. Well, here's the beauty about this. I have posted this over and over and over again, numerous times, that there would be a Bitcoin margin call at MicroStrategy at $30,000. And now everyone is echoing me. This is wonderful. I could not have paid for this kind of advertising. Here's another one on Mint. Bitcoin may slide to $30,000 over the next few months. BitMEX founder says by June. Well, here we are in April. We got May, June. We're what, 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away? So I think we're heading into a really interesting area here. And I believe, I don't know what the details are, but I would think that there's going to be pressure on MicroStrategy's stock. There's going to be pressure on Michael Saylor. And there's going to be pressure on Bitcoin holders. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're watching this video and you're hodling Bitcoin, you're saying to yourself, well, Perez, that's just FUD. Bitcoin always goes up. I know, it always goes up. So let's say we get to 30,000, or I take that back. Let's say you're a hedge fund. Let's say you're a private equity fund and you're sitting on Bitcoin and you're saying to yourself, wait a second here. I just listened to this video from the Silver is Money guy on Telegram. And he said there's going to be a margin call at 30,000. And Michael Saylor said his average cost is 30,700, and all the chartists and everyone are saying we're going to 30,000. Now it gets even better because none other than Carl the Moon, he's got a big million person following, huge Bitcoin, promo guy. He said this morning, his video said Bitcoin may go to $13,000 here. So now we got $30,000. 13,000. Carl the Moon on YouTube, who's got a tremendous following and a lot of followers and a lot of Bitcoin hodlers. This morning he came out and said $13,000 Bitcoin. And then another chartist who I've been following for a long time is saying the same thing. So now suddenly $30,000 from the BitMEX CEO, $13,000 from Carl the Moon. And all of a sudden my margin call is looking very realistic right now. So that's the what I see coming on the horizon. Now, here's where there's going to be some problems here, because now we're talking traders here. Let's say you're a private equity fund. Let's say you're a hedge fund. Let's say you're just a big trader sitting on a ton of Bitcoin. You watch this show and you look at these. You start to do your due diligence and you ask yourself, wait a second here. What is the possibility of a sell-off? I mean, what if, I don't know what the contracts hold in there. Is there going to be a margin call? I mean, if the asset becomes a negative, for MicroStrategy, what happens to the stock valuations? This is unusual. We've never had a publicly traded company hanging on to a Bitcoin where suddenly the value of that asset goes negative and then the stock is affected. This has never happened before. This is a first time ever here. So if I was a trader, I would be looking at this, and my first thought was, well, what would you do, Perez? I said, what would I do? I would be watching. If I had purchased under 30,000, 10,000, 15,000, I would be severely, I would be concerned of the fact that, wait a second, if this thing hits 30,000, what's stopping this guy from blowing out? What if the shareholders say, look, sell, man, you break even, sell? We don't know what that's going to happen here. But if you were a
John,
trader,
let me pause you there just for a minute. You and I both know markets enough to know if it or when it gets around the 30,000 level, you can't sell 129,000 Bitcoin in the market because that's such a whale position. You're going to need a lot of retail to scoop it up. If everyone's fearful around that number, you're probably going to get a gap down because everyone's going to hold their breath and wait. So there are no bids. I'm not
precisely.
bidding. I'm going to wait until let's see where it goes. So you could have in theory, I mean, you and I know markets, believe me, know markets. Do I know everything? No, but I know how markets operate. So to repeat, you can get a gap down from 30,000 to 25,000 before anybody's wanting to pick it up because there's such a sale that's, on the books. And of course, there could be a lot. It could be filled. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong. I mean, maybe there's a lot of support there, but it sure doesn't sound like it. You get, these other people saying 30,000 and just want to move you along. I don't want to interrupt you too much, but John, this is one that came off on your channel that you haven't talked about yet that I think is kind of I think this is the icing on the cake. This is from Zero Hedge. Everybody loves Zero Hedge. And you wrote me, this is it. Look, Zero Hedge. Gold tops 2,000 as crypto correlation crashes. Gold has been an inflation hedge for millennia. Your comment, please.
Yeah, this Zero Hedge article here is this article here confirmed all my predictions and all our interviews. Everything we did since October has come true. I'm going to just read directly from the article. Since the beginning of the year, gold has surged over 9%, topping $2,000 again this morning. And amid geopolitical crisis, Ukraine, Vladimir Putin, which we talked about, global stagflation fears. At the same time, cryptocurrencies have suffered, with Bitcoin down around 15%, back below $40,000 this morning. When we first started our crypto conspiracy, it was at 65, 66, 69,000. And I was saying, sell Bitcoin, buy silver. And a lot of people disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. With the most aggressive shift from digital gold to real gold occurring since when? Since Putin invaded Ukraine, which we call this one perfect here, David. And you can see on the chart there, which we'll post on here, how gold took off on the invasion and how Bitcoin pretty much has struggled. And it looks to me like it's ready to go to the downside. And with all these $30,000 forecasts here, I think we got more downside to go and nothing but upside for gold and silver. This is the silver PSYOP now. This goes back to silver PSYOP number 3, where we talked about a decoupling, eventually where Bitcoin would crash, Bitcoin would die, and silver and gold would fly. The chart here put on Zero Hedge from Bloomberg is astonishing because it confirms two things. The silver PSYOP, which we talked about, and you did 3 videos, and one with Dave Kranzler, which I really enjoyed. And in the chart, you have gold going up, and you got Bitcoin going down. And if you watch the video, you hear me saying Bitcoin up, silver down. Next is silver up, Bitcoin down, and it's happening in the charts, the decoupling. And it's right there in the red where Putin invades, which I did, made a million predictions that said this would go up. It has gone up here, but this was an article from, of all places, Bloomberg. Bloomberg said it. Let me read this quote here from Jeffrey Halley, senior market analyst at Oanda Asia Pacific. The barbarous relics besting of Bitcoin has many questioning the latter's inflation hedge status. Well, right now we're learning that Bitcoin is a horrible inflation hedge status. First of all, it has no experience, it has no history. And read this quote here, quote, "It could well be that as Bitcoin is tested in a high inflation, rising rate environment for the first time, investors are choosing tradition over a new frontier." This is Bloomberg and Jeffrey Halley, senior market analyst at Oanda Asia Pacific. Quote, "Gold has been an inflation hedge for a millennia. In fact, the 50-day correlation between new and old gold is at its lowest since 2018, while the correlation between Bitcoin and NASDAQ stock has soared as risk assets in general have suffered amid rising rates and increasingly hawkish central banks here." I mean, really, one more quote here. Of course, the last few years of massive global money printing has seen cryptos dramatically outperform every other class. MicroStrategy founder Michael Saylor said in a recent Bloomberg interview that he cannot think of anything better to position our company in an inflationary environment than to convert our balance sheet to Bitcoin. And I'll say this, he put his money where his mouth is. He bought Bitcoin at 45,000 and now here we are at 39,000. So let's see how this trade turns out here. But he lived up to it. I know that gold and silver are going to win this one because there simply is no history with Bitcoin. And there are some other stories that I haven't talked about. We'll bring for another interview here regarding Russia and what's happening over there. They're going after the crypto wallets, the non-custodial crypto wallets. But this chart here we'll post up here is an absolute beautiful chart because it confirms everything we did in the crypto conspiracy, everything we talked about gold and silver, and then the silver psyop here. So anyhow, this was from Bloomberg and Zero Hedge, and it's just absolute gold that confirmed everything we talked about in all of our interviews, David. And
Great.
It feels good. It feels good.
Well, thanks for the summary. I want to shift you from Russia to China because, as Bitcoin bashers, I'll put most of that on you. But the real core here that we have tried to emphasize again and again and again, besides where it started with MIT, how Epstein's involved, how this guy Ito, was it Jerry Ito or something? I forget his first name. I mean, all the people are connected. But all of that aside, if you want to get down and say one word, Mr. Morgan, the Morgan Report, one word, what is it? And the word's tether. I mean, tether. And this is what I really want to emphasize because this almost invariable scam tied to Evergrande and all the rest that's going on in the Chinese economy, which is having, let's say, problems by being over leveraged, comes back to what runs Bitcoin. What runs Bitcoin? Tether. So comments.
Well, one of the first things we talked about was Evergrande and the theory that 30% of the paper backing Tether was Evergrande paper. And Evergrande has officially gone bankrupt. But Tether continues to run. But we know one thing about Tether. The most important thing about Tether is that it's unaudited. It's unaudited. We have professional hedge fund traders. We have major private equity funds. We have the biggest names in the business purchasing Bitcoin, which they don't even realize that part of the volume comes from Tether, and it's unaudited. And it was connected to Evergrande, which has defaulted on its debt. And the most recent news here, let's see here. I mean, they're seizing everything at Evergrande, but the most recent one was, now we have a bigger one, by the way. Remember this name, Country Garden. Country Garden. That's worse and bigger than Evergrande. We don't know how much paper is inside there, but Evergrande, 27 days ago, Evergrande delays results as bank seizes $2 billion unit. They're seizing everything at Evergrande, but there's been still no audit or any open books at Tether here. And we
Right.
all know that Tether is supporting the volume at Bitcoin. To what extent? I think there's going to come a point in time when we're going to see a nosedive in Tether and then Bitcoin, or Bitcoin then Tether. And when that time comes, I believe we're going to see 200,000, 400,000, 600,000 Bitcoin thrown on the market. And the bottom is, it's going to go rug pull. Carl the Moon says 13,000. Crypto Whale says 10,000. I say $4,200 will print that exact number, 4,200. Just like it printed 66,666. Bitcoin will print $4,200. But
All right, I got one final wind up question, John. You're really good at kind of connecting a lot of dots, especially from the PSYOP perspective. Okay. So here's my question. I called it when, Bitcoin got the big push. When Wall Street got behind Bitcoin, I wrote in my editorial for our premium service, watch out, Bitcoin is going to go higher and higher and higher because Wall Street's behind it. Well, that's a fact. I think that's pretty easy to prove looking through history. However, a lot of what you just read from some of these mainstream people, Bloomberg, I wouldn't call zero hedge, but are looking, and basically they're pretty much taking a negative stance toward it. So, what's the psychological change here, John, in your opinion? You think they're backing off a little bit so they don't look so bad, or there's a shift where maybe they know something's coming down the pike because of the let's say, the questionable tie to an unaudited money scheme, perhaps, of Tether, or what? I mean, so you connect the dots for me. What's going on in the mind of the John Perez? Why this shift from Bitcoin is wonderful, Wall Street, to we're not so sure about Bitcoin anymore, Wall Street?
well, if you recall, I forgot what number video it was. Remember, I put in the clip from Wall Street when he talked about
Right? Wreckable.
Bitcoin is wreckable.
Wreckable. Yeah.
Wreckable, wreckable, wreckable. The one thing I have said from day one is that Bitcoin is wreckable. And we're about to discover what that really means. Because if you look at the pedigree of the people that are involved with Bitcoin from the very get-go, it raises an eyebrow. And you have to ask yourself, well, if Bitcoin gets wrecked, who's going to win? Probably XRP. Maybe Bitcoin was designed to be wreckable. I think the euro is going to be wrecked. The US dollar is wrecking itself right now. And with all these wreckings going on, we're going to see some people pushed into XRP, forced conversion. But Bitcoin to me is wreckable. And I think everybody knows it because countless people have contacted me about the crypto conspiracy. Nobody has ever contacted me to debate the facts because it's not debatable. It's irrefutable as to the origins. But a lot of people have contacted, saying, what's your opinion on this? And I've been consistent. I said, it's a moral, ethical decision to be in or out. But from a trade standpoint, I've been right on the money. It's as a trade, silver has moved forward. It is a safer place to be. It is still trading at 50% of its 1980 highs. Somehow inflation has magically not affected silver in a wonderful way. And it's a gift because it allows me to get more people in to hold their positions. But Bitcoin is wreckable. And I think that the powers that be, the people that see the silver psyop, I think they know this. In fact, not only do I think they know it, I think this is planned. And I think we're going to see what's going to be this Hegelian dialect scenario where Bitcoin is suddenly going to be the green problem. And it's going to be the green problem. And then it's going to become a, questionable problem. And then it's going to be the problem. And then there's going to be a reaction. And then there's going to be a solution. And that solution, I think, is going to be a different crypto, a different kind of crypto owned by the people that run the entire banking system here. And that being said, that leads me to say Bitcoin from day one was to be eliminated and wreckable, and it's going to be wrecked. And it has no, as Kurt Wuckert said, it doesn't have the technical ability to be used as a, global, currency. But recently, if you've been reading the news in the last month, there are all these crazy, I mean, really high profile organizations claiming that Bitcoin could be used as a global reserve currency, which is like, you got to be kidding me. And you look at these organizations like, what stake do they have in this? Are they selling? I don't know. They want to sell before 30,000. Anyhow, I think Bitcoin is wreckable. It's going to be wrecked. And when it is wrecked, we are going to see gold and silver fly. And as I've been saying now, that has been my tagline: Bitcoin dies and silver flies. And I believe we're going to see that. And people ask me, how come silver's not going anywhere? I said, just watch Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now, I said, right now you got $30,000 predictions everywhere in the media. Then you got Carl the Moon saying 13,000. You got Crypto Whale saying 10,000 here. And of course, everyone will say, well, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to go parallel. When Bitcoin goes off the cliff, it's going to go with the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ and Bitcoin will both go down together.
Highly
Not for
correlated.
technical reasons, but they will go down together.
John, you sparked a light bulb over my head. It doesn't happen all the time anymore. All right, here's the big question. What will we see first? $30 silver USD or 30,000 Bitcoin?
Ooh, that's a good one. 30,000, let's see. I think that, well,
Man, I put you on the spot.
yeah, that's a
Bitcoin
good, that's a
dies,
tough, it's a
silver
good,
flies.
it's a great
You're
question
going
though. I
for
mean,
$5
it's a
on
trade
silver.
question. You got two of the most volatile assets working for and against each other in a manipulated, suppressed world. But I'll take a crack at it.
Sure, please.
I'll speculate here. I'll speculate. Bitcoin can drop faster than any other asset in the world. And remember, it can drop to 30,000 in a heartbeat. When it
Or
hits
down,
that
down
30,
like we talked about earlier. Sorry to
yes,
interrupt. Yep.
when it hits that 30,000, it's going to trigger something I don't think anybody's ready to see, and that is a 200 to 400 to 600,000 coin sell off of gargantuan proportions. When that happens, you're going to see money flowing into silver and gold. But the difference is that Bitcoin is not going to have anything supporting it on the way down. Silver will have a war to go against the manipulators, and the suppressors, but they may be forced to get out of the way. As I think, at the end of the day, I mean, look, if you go to buy an American Eagle right now, you're going to pay what, 10, 12, $15 premium.
Yeah,
So
14.
technically, yeah, silver right now is what, $26. So if you add $15 to 26, we're already trading at near $40 silver on the street. So we only have to go $10 on the street to hit $50. So we're already over 30 on the street. But from a spot position here, I mean, they can print what they want. But I'm going to say that we can go. I think Bitcoin can get to 30,000 quicker than silver can go to 30. But that being said, they can do Bitcoin can hit 30 on the same day silver hits. No, 30,000 Bitcoin at the same day silver hits 30.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
everybody,
right, interesting crossover.
yeah, it's the Bitcoin is number 3, the silver psyop. I said there would be a point where silver takes off and Bitcoin goes down, and they will decouple, and that spread will go big time, and it's happening already. I mean, that chart on Bloomberg showing the correlation, the disconnect between gold and Bitcoin, it is clear as day. And we just hit all-time record for gold. We're about ready. Well, we became 1 penny of it. I mean, I think we're going to blow right through 2,000 and then right through 23,000 with the Bitcoin crash, because we're going to have refugees. It's going to be the Titanic is sinking, and people are going to do it. They're going to run to gold, and I think they're going to run to silver, because they're going to know, oh my gosh, gold's $2,000 an ounce. Well, silver's being suppressed. And it's like, you better look again, my friend. Those suppression days, it's going straight up. It's like, well, it's $26 an ounce. It's like, why don't you call your local coin dealer and ask them how much an American Eagle is over the phone? Because that is the real price.
All right, John. It's always great to spend time with you. So I have a double bonus follow-up round. You may or may not know this. So this is something that's back in the Silver Guru's back office to the back office. Do you know how the whole Monex thing got started?
No, I don't.
Okay, here we go. I'll give you the general outline. It's not
Here we go.
super detailed. So what happened was the initial founder or founders were buying bag silver. So way back when I was young, there were two markets on the futures exchange. There was a silver bullion market, which is your 1,000-ounce commercial bars. But there was also a coin, it was called bag market. Mm-hmm. The bag market was face value $1,000. So it'd be 4,000 quarters or 10,000 dimes, and that would be a bag of silver. So you had both of them. So what Monex did was they went and bought the bag silver, because at the time people would say to me, well, how can you make money buying the money? Because they didn't understand that the fiat system was just beginning its failure mode, right?
Right.
So a $1,000 bag of silver was costing $1,150. So there's a $150 premium on that $1,000 face. All right. And it went, that's just an example. I'm not saying that was the exact number forever. Mm-hmm. So what Monex did was they went into their bank and they said, I want to borrow 1,000 face value. So then they went and they leveraged more bags. And they've got $1,000 all free storage, by the way. Free storage, John, because they were taking loans on the bags. The bank had it. Banks had vaults for a reason in the old days. Yeah. They had like valuable stuff in there. So that's how it started. They started buying bags at a very slight premium, taking the bags into the bank, borrowing at face value. Can't go below $1,000.
Okay.
You take that $1,000 and you buy more bags. You take those bags and they just levered all the way up. But that's a little different strategy than micro strategies, right?
Oh, yeah. At least you have something to sell. I mean, if like things go wrong,
something that can't go below, you got to put. You got $150 premium on $1,000. You got 10% risk or something, but it's not like an infinite risk with some of these, short positions. So very interesting story that was told to me by one of the, I think the founder's son and one of the longtime marketing guys. Quite a story though, and smart, and like I said, most people are oblivious because the Johnson slugs came out and exactly, I'll repeat it. People say, well, how can you make money buying the money? Well, if you were only smart enough to figure it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of
how
stories. How
can you make money buying the money? You can buy money with fiat. That's how. I mean, even today, as rotten as the silver price is, and I know we said this before, and we can wrap it up, but a 25-cent silver piece, 90% silver coin, still is worth $6.25 in fiat. So I'm still paying 25 cents a gallon from when I was a teenager, and 25 cents would, be a gallon of gas.
Yeah, yeah. The whole 1980 gas price and 50%. We have to do. By the way, we have to do the Silver City housing bubble. That's another video.
Let's leave it there. Give them a teaser, John. I'm going to hand it off to you, and we'll close out. Tease us about the Silver City housing bubble.
Okay, the Silver City housing bubble. You bought a house for $1 million in 1980. Okay, and then the housing market crashes and it goes down to $500,000. You lose 50%. Then you say, well, real estate always is a good investment. So you buy that house for $500,000. You buy it for $1 million, but it goes down to $500,000. And you sit on it. I'm going to sit because real estate always goes up. Fast forward to 2022. Someone says, hey, you still got that house you bought there in Newport Beach for $1 million? Yeah, what's it worth? It's worth $500,000. Wait a second. What did you pay? I paid $1 million. What year did you paid $1 million for that in 1980? It's worth $500,000. It's like, yeah. Well, what do you call that? I go, that's the Silver City housing bubble.
John,
future
it's
video.
Always fun
future
to
video.
With you, no matter what. It's been a while since we did it publicly. We do talk fairly often. Thanks for all you do for everybody. You got a big heart, you got a great brain, and I'm not the kind of like to I told you so, but we did, you and I, and more you than me, but I've interviewed more than just you. I've gone out pretty far, pretty deep, pretty wide, try to gather as much useful information so people can think for themselves critically.
Yes.
And you brought a lot to the table, John. So thank you for your time, and we will reconvene. But this is a good wrap up because here we are. We're pushing toward $30,000 Bitcoin. I don't wish ill on anyone. I mean, the whole thing, that you said it more than me, is let's do a risk assessment of
Yes,
Bitcoin because no one is doing it properly. And you and I looked at the other side of the coin.
that's right.
And every time we looked at the other side of the coin, it was FOMO, it was FUD, it was we don't understand it, and all this other hucky puck. But the hucky puck is coming home to roost. And I think you're right. I'm betting $30,000 Bitcoin is in the future. And we know $30 silver is in the future. And when they cross over those numbers, there's not much below 30,000 for Bitcoin. In other words, it could just keep going down. And there's very
Yeah.
little upside resistance to silver above 30. So it could be one of those inflection points that, we'll talk about in a few months or who knows. And talk about,
Ooh,
remember
it'll be
when
soon.
we talked about the 30-30.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my post from the date here. It was January 18th. I posted $30,000 Bitcoin margin call and equals $30 silver.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so and I said Putin destroys both, and as of right in the last couple hours, they have begun phase two, and we're going to see Syrian troops in Ukraine. We're going to see more high level, high altitude strategic bombers. And now they're already talking about a nuclear conflict here, but who knows who pulls the trigger on that one. But $30,000 Bitcoin and $30 silver, I believe, are going to meet each other at the same time. So your question you asked was perfect because I think they're going to hit. They're going to cross paths at the same time.
Okay.
We're just what were we? We're at $3.65 away today. So I think it's closer than it appears.
Good. So, John, let's close out with how people get a hold of you to give out your Telegram channel, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm on Telegram. I love Telegram. It's uncensored, lots of fun, lots of rock and roll, good music, and lots of good people. And I think with the 3,400 members, there's usually 600 people on there live 24/7. But it's 99.9%, if not a 100% silver lovers, truth lovers. You name it, truth and silver. I mean, what more could you want? We've got new sponsors, good wine sponsors, and good tequila sponsors. It's a lot of fun. There's no holes barred there. Anyhow, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Well,
On
John,
Silver is money on Telegram. Silver is money on Telegram.
okay. I love having you on, John, because you smile a lot and you don't take yourself too seriously, but you have a lot of knowledge and you helped a lot of people. I continue in that vein myself. I hope I'm doing more good than harm. And if you're overweighted Bitcoin, if you're overweighted Bitcoin, you might want to take a moment to think about it.
Yeah.
John, I'll let you be. We will be back soon. And we will be watching these markets, especially that shiny
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. Yes. Our time is near. Our time is near.